To help with the lighting in my garage, I've been using one of these portable side lights. The light works really well, but the battery life isn't particularly great, so I'm going to see if I can solve that. So the light dismantles really easily. There are 4 screws which hold on the front, which then kind of pins everything else into place. And if I remove those, you can see the battery that's currently inside. So the front panel has a kind of rubber gasket and a piece of glass along with the frame. And the light has got this little metal reflector held on with a couple of small screws. The electronics in this light are really simple. There's the large 20-watt LED mounted to the heatsink on the back, and then there's an inline resistor to kind of regulate the current and voltage. That's kind of connected to a lithium-ion battery pack via a switch, and the charging port here connects directly to the battery pack. So it comes with a power supply which has got a built-in lithium-ion battery charger. But what I'm going to do to solve my problem is kind of make use of this extra space up here and add in an additional battery pack. So the battery pack being used in here is a fairly standard type. And so I've been able to locate an exact kind of copy. And so what I'm going to do is wire these two in parallel. Now with lithium-ion batteries, that can be a little dangerous, especially if these cells aren't matched. So you can kind of get current flowing from one cell to another, which can kind of lead to problems. But it is a pretty new light, and the battery hasn't been used that much, so I'm hoping it's going to be in a fairly good condition. But I'm also going to connect it together and just kind of measure the current that flows between the two of them as I join them up, just to make sure nothing kind of silly happens. So I've wired in the ground connection for the battery, and I've measured the current flow between the positive terminals, and that's just a couple of milliamps, which is kind of a pretty kind of safe amount. So what I'm going to do now is solder the positive terminal in kind of with the rest of it, and hopefully kind of then move on to testing of the charging system. So the battery pack is now kind of wired up in parallel with the existing one. I'm just going to give it a minute just to see if anything starts to melt or smoke before I move on. But if that's okay, I will use a bit of hot glue to pin this down and plug in the charger. So this is the charger that it runs off of. It looks like a normal kind of wall power supply, but it's actually a lithium-ion battery charger built in. I don't think I've encountered one of these before, but it's got a little kind of status light on the front which turns red and green, and I'm hoping it will be fine with the two batteries. It should hopefully charge at a constant current, which means it'll just take a little bit longer, or twice as long to charge up, but other than that it should be fairly safe. So what I'm going to do is put it onto charge now. I'll leave this open just so I can see what's going on, just in case, and I will kind of keep feeling this thing and see if it gets particularly hot. So this thing took quite some time to charge. But it did make it. I was slightly concerned that the charger wasn't up to the task of kind of filling the two batteries, but it seems to be fine. And I've now kind of doubled the runtime of this light, which is really, really useful.